Yo, yo, yo. Welcome back to the Smart HVAC Marketing Podcast, where we
don't have a tagline.
We have a tagline where we believe conversations should be had with alcohol. Is that what any good conversation worth having is worth having drunk?
There it is.
There we go.
Yeah.
Also something about good ideas and smart people. Back again for the gazillionth time today with my enemies.
Mortal enemies.
Frenemies.
Frenemies.
Yeah.
So we're just a bunch of rogue podcasters. There goes the AC again.
Yep.
Rogue podcasters here doing rogue podcaster stuff. So I have no agenda and I have no clue what we're going to talk about. So I'm going to let you all drive. What do you want to talk about?
What is smart HVAC marketing?
It's like regular marketing, but better.
More intelligent.
So the reason that here we go. So the reason that I chose smart HVAC marketing was solely for SEO purposes.
Love it.
So if you search HVAC marketing podcast, like anywhere in the world, like we fucking own that entire search result.
Right.
So that's the whole reason for it. There's not like any clever or cute reason really.
But that is a clever reason when you think about it. Like at the end of the day, like when you look at naming a company, an HVAC company, for example, why do you put heating and air conditioning in your company or heating and air?
Yeah.
Because that's part of the name and part of the search.
Yeah.
Well, and this is something that, I know our friend Dan
Antonelli,
would definitely argue against in terms of naming, but to name a company, city name, air conditioning.
Yeah.
Right. Or even more specific, AC repair. Right.
Yeah.
You want to talk about owning the search result? Well, there you go. And that's where really it comes down to what is your goal as a business.
Yeah.
I saw a business name called Dentist Near Me. That was literally their business name.
Right.
Like, how smart is that?
Right.
That's pretty smart.
Yeah.
You're going to have shitty branding and you're going to show up number one in the Google search. So what is your goal?
I think you probably do a pretty good branding campaign around Dentist Near Me.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, you could try. You could do like a little map marker with like a tooth in it.
Right. There you go.
Yeah.
See? Coming up with a
Pointing
couple
out
ideas.
cavity.
Yeah. A cavity and I don't know, maybe some floss like around the me.
The floss the me could be written.
In
floss.
In floss.
There you go.
Yeah. All right. Someone tag Dan in the comments section. We're getting no one watching right now. Wow. Everyone must be paying attention to the breakout session.
Yeah, they're in the event. Maybe it was the description on the show that
description.
Loop a lot of people in.
Description is description.
But like, so I mean, when we look at our show, like HVAC Success Secrets Revealed, and like even you had the conversation too the other day that you get most of yours on downloads right after your podcast is out. And we actually had this argument with a few people and a few previous guests because we always go live with our show 2 p.m. Mountain every Wednesday, and we would not move it for a single person. We ended up having Dennis Yu on, one of the masters of marketing. We also had Jody Underhill on, and he couldn't make our time. And they're like, guys, an hour, one way or the other is not going to make or break your show. Most of your people aren't actually on the live. They're going to catch it on team replay later on, and they're going to be able to consume it on their own time. We're like, oh, okay, makes sense. So we started moving our show time an hour, one way or the other if we need to. And it has not affected the numbers on our show after the show goes out. Even when we go live, the numbers are still roughly the same.
Yep. That's good stuff. Yeah, we have not. I mean, we've gone live, and it's when I had Tommy on, it got 10, 15. But when we were recording, that's mainly because I'd pumped it into his group.
Right.
But that was probably like the most we've ever gotten live. We don't really get anything on YouTube afterwards, but on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts and stuff, that's where all the magic happens for us.
Yeah, you get thousands of downloads.
What's your favorite part about running a podcast?
Ooh, I think my favorite part is just like one, being able to be the resource that provides information that I didn't come up with, but I can take the credit for it. But also like I'm learning from these people. So like we've been doing the podcast since December of 2020. Which I think was a few months after you all started yours.
Yep.
And I feel like just having so many good people on that are way smarter than I could ever dream of being. I've learned so much more about the industry in a much faster time period than say someone that's just trying to pick it up on their own. like when you're bringing on people like Tommy Mello, and I mean, you guys know the drill, like Tommy Mello and Josh Kelly and all these people that are like wicked smart, and they're just dumping their brain out to you for an hour, and you're just soaking it all in. That's my favorite part, is just being able to learn. And then also being able to just be a resource for some people. And like, I think truly my favorite part is when someone calls in, like, and they're like, hey, I would say probably 90% of the phone calls we get through our work line is, hey, I listened to your podcast and I heard this, that, and the other. And I was trying to figure this out or whatever it is. And like, they keep the conversation going. But just knowing that people actually care about it is pretty cool.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I remember we were live at Service Rocket a couple weeks ago.
Profit Rocket.
Sorry, my bad. Trademark issues there.
He had to rename it a week before the event.
But yeah, having people come up and having conversations with real people. And yeah, we were drunk and there was good conversations and it was good. But having them regurgitate some lines that we've said on the show repeatedly was so rewarding, right?
Yeah.
Ignorance isn't bliss, ignorance is pain. Having people come up and say that to me after I've repeated it over and over and over again on the show. Yeah, so fucking cool.
Yeah.
Or when they say until next time, cheers.
Yeah. I got that in a text message when I was leaving Jacksonville last weekend.
That's awesome.
And yeah, Brian Bohannon, shout out to you, brother. Sent him a text like, hey, it was great to meet you and great to hang out and see you later next time or whatever. And he said, yep, till next time. Cheers.
Nice. So tell, some of our listeners may or may not listen to your podcast. So tell me more about and tell them more about your show and what it's all about.
I mean, it's all about pulling back the curtain on the secrets that have gotten business owners to where they're at. Like, why have they achieved what they have achieved? Success leaves clues, right? If you follow the roadmap, you're probably going to attain at least a level of success that they have as well.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, it's figuring out what it is that they had to struggle through to get to where they're at now.
Yeah, that's real.
Well, in your, that's exactly it. A lot of people like to talk about what's colorful and rosy and, sunshines, lollipops, and rainbows. Well, at the end of the day, it's not always sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows. Like, there's real struggles. People have a real tough time. Like we, earlier today when we had Sarah Gerardo and Lauren Vahey on and talking about there's days where they don't want to get out of bed. And to do the work. And like, look, that happens to us, right? It happens to me. It happened to him this morning. His alarm went off at 5 a.m. and then he turned it off and continued sleeping. Meanwhile, I woke up at his alarm at 5 a.m. I mean, that was for different reasons than why he didn't want to get out of bed. A couple of beers last night at the event, but
11.
Right. But
he had 11.
Yeah, he had 11. But the real struggles, right? And in being raw, real, and vulnerable, I think is an important piece. And I think what's missing in a lot of social media is that part, because I know everybody only wants to show what's happening well. They don't necessarily want to talk about what the struggles are and how did you overcome that. And when you can be raw, real, and vulnerable in those sorts of things, now there's power in what you're doing because other people are feeling the exact same thing. And it's just real, raw, honest conversations.
Yeah. Do you all feel that the alcohol contributes to the realness?
1,000%.
They open up a little bit more.
Yep.
Yeah.
You can usually see around the 35 minute mark, we can get into a real deep question and some deep thought will come out. And it's really great.
Especially for the guests. We ended up just going off the rails sometimes.
Yeah, there's been some sloppy ones. Especially when we're re-recording the intro at the end of the show.
Yeah.
To relaunch the podcast again on Friday. And there's been some nice blooper reels that our video editors put together for us.
Yeah. Now you're so right about that. Like I was talking to Stephanie about that on last week's episode, trying to future proof this on last week's episode with Stephanie about how you see Facebook, it's like a highlight reel for sure.
Yep.
But like you go in these groups and it's just like, check out this screenshot. I've grown 58% and I just had a $2 million month. And everyone's like, oh, what secret sauce are you on? But they're not showing the past 18 months of people fucking quitting. Dealing with people trying to take advantage of them, getting burned out, family problems, all this other shit that business owners have to deal with. Fucking the van got into a car accident, so they had to get 8 vans repaired last month. And they don't show that, but they'll show a nice screenshot of the result, and everyone's like, "I want that. How did you get that?"
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, true. They don't know the hard work that goes into it, the sacrifice, right? Being a business owner, while some people think it's glamorous, has its challenges. Like, and you know, we have a marketing company, you have a marketing company. Like, our struggles in our marketing company they're not necessarily the same as the HVAC businesses, but the concepts are there. There's just different struggles, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're not faced with the same struggles, although staffing, right? We're faced with staffing struggles. You're faced with staffing struggles. The HVAC company owners are faced with staffing struggles. But the more we talk about these things, the more we're going to normalize the conversation. And it's okay to not be okay.
Yeah.
And to also ask for help. That's the other part that I think a lot of people miss on, is that I'm not okay, but I don't want to ask for help because their pride gets in their way. And so it's removing that, finding a peer group. This is what I love about this Women HVACR conference, right? And talking with some of the powerhouses and just all the regular everyday people from the company that are females, and they're banding together to be able to have these similar conversations and similar struggles to open up. And that's a powerful, powerful thing. So find your tribe, find your village, to be able to help run your business.
Yeah. See, I think a lot of times at these events, like you get your like your usual suspects that like everyone knows from the circles, everyone like sees them online. They're so visible. They've been on all the podcasts. They've done all the breakouts, and those people, you know, they're great. They have a ton of knowledge to share, but like, there's a lot of people that I've found, like when I was at lunch, that just kind of, it hit me. There's a lot of people in these rooms at these events that like, they're not the one that you even know of. Like they're here just attending, but they've got the realest shit to share. Like when I was sitting at lunch with this young couple from Georgia, like they were just taking over their grandparents' business, and like they were sharing some like mind blowing stuff with me, because they do like refrigeration and AC and stuff for like grocery stores. And like the stuff that he was sharing with me, I was like, dude, you need a breakout session on this, but like you don't get that. But so I think that's why these events are so great. And like Colleen was saying earlier, like just go sit with random people you don't know.
Yep.
Well, that's always been our philosophy when we go to an event. Like we don't even sit together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
That's
like,
one of our rules.
Yeah. We'll split up. We can divide and conquer sort of approach, but really it's about how can we meet the coolest people.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. And get to know someone that we didn't know before.
Be curious, ask questions.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. What's been like the biggest struggle or challenge that y'all have faced with your podcast?
I mean, I guess it is kind of a struggle and it's a challenge, but you know, well, it's funny because we're talking on the way here, we're talking about the equipment and the setup and how we got him getting our extra mics. You know, these guys bought these mics and they thought it was a fun thing to do, but you see it in a lot of places, and a lot of people like, I'm going to start a podcast. I'm going to be Joe Rogan, you know, and they go out and they do it and they get like 10 episodes and then their podcast is gone.
Yeah.
You know, I think that the one of the most difficult and challenging parts about running it is continually finding great top level guests and weeding through that and be able to have that scheduled out, because that's what is a lot of the work. Like coming on and actually doing the podcast is a lot of fun and it's pretty easy. Once you're there, it's getting the guests lined up. And also, I mean, for us, because we go live with it on Wednesdays, that's been our MO, to making sure that they don't back out or they don't bail or they don't cancel. And we've had it happen and you're left scrambling at the last minute. But I think for me, that would probably be the biggest challenge.
Yeah.
Yep.
The pod fade.
Yeah.
So, dude, I see it so often, man. Like they say the average podcast only lasts 7 episodes
I can see it
before it pod fades.
Yeah.
Hey, we're above average, brother.
Yeah.
How many episodes are you at?
Currently it's at 135. Whenever
Nice.
this episode goes out, it should be in like the 140s.
Nice.
Yeah. How about you?
We just hit 100 last week in Vegas.
Nice.
Yeah.
So we're 101 before today.
Yeah. So we've been doing it shorter amount of time, but like when I first started the podcast, I was just like pumping and dumping these things out like 3-4 a week. And I got so ridiculously burnt out by like episode 60. And I was like, all right, I'm backing this off. It's just going to be Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Yep.
So I did 2 a week for a month and a half, 2 months. And I was like, I was dreading it. I was getting burnt out. I was like, I'm about to just stop. This is way too much. And then I was like, all right, I'm going to 1 a week. And then that's when I'm like, that was the sweet spot. And what I noticed was when I went back to 1 a week, or just completely went to 1 a week for the first time, our listens went up. Right. Because we were putting out so many that I feel like people were getting overwhelmed and just skipping through them.
Or they just don't have the time, right? I mean, like, they want to listen to other things too.
Yeah. So I was going to 1 a week and just focused on bringing on, like you said, like people that like Tommy Mello and Lawrence and, you know, just smart people that have a good following and have really good stuff to share. So Yeah.
Love it.
Mm-hmm.
What has been your biggest struggle?
That was
that?
that was probably my biggest struggle for
Yeah.
sure. Getting guests has never really been an issue. Just because like it's in my opinion, I think it's easy to get a guest for a podcast because it's proving them as a thought leader. So it's not like a hard sell for them or for me to them. So getting guests has never been a huge challenge, but getting that burnt out at the beginning was definitely a struggle. Cause I tried to go far really, really fast.
Mm-hmm.
And I've ran out like steam.
Right. Well, and the other thing too is it's easy to find guests, but are they good? Right. I mean, we've had a couple duds, and it is what it is.
Like when I had to be solo with this guy, Jesus Christ.
Jeez.
What are you talking about, man? I'm easy go lucky here. Best co-host you got.
I've had a few where I promptly just wrapped the episode up and I was like, all right, we're getting out of here. There's been a few that I never even aired because it was so bad.
Right.
Yeah.
Just why'd you even agree to this if you're not gonna, I don't know. But yeah, it's all good stuff.
Yeah, man. What I mean, we're talking about the Women in HVACR event. That's why we're here. What's been, I guess, your biggest takeaway so far from the event?
Oh, that's really good. I think my biggest takeaway, and this is something I was talking to Stephanie about earlier, is that I feel like there should be more people talking about like why there aren't as many females in the trades. And something that we kind of were talking on was like, it used to be like nursing was like a female industry. And then whenever like men or guys would go be a nurse, everyone would like they would get picked on. Right. They were like, oh, you're a nurse. Like that's a girl's job. Like they would joke about it, but then it's like, but now the conversation is like, oh, there's a male nurse. It's like not even no one. It's like no different.
Right.
Yep.
So how do we get the heating and air conditioning or the trades in general to that point where a female technician rolls up to your house and the homeowner doesn't say, oh, I need to talk to the technician.
Right.
Or it's like, no, I am the technician. Like, how do we get that? So that was been kind of the biggest takeaway for me is like finding ways for just the industry as a whole to kind of take this message and maybe push it to the forefront a little bit.
Right. Well, and I think on that argument, there are two sides of it as well. There's one, like, yes, how do we change the customer's perspective so that when they roll up, they're not questioning their intelligence. They're not questioning whether they're skilled or not.
Yeah.
Right. In their trade. The other part of it, though, and this was Ellen Rohr, she was on stage at Profit Rocket and talking about this exact same thing. She was getting her hair done and she's telling the story of this young woman that was in the salon and she was looking for a job. She's like, well, why don't you do drain cleaning? It's great. And she built it all up. And I mean, Ellen's energy, if you had her on the show, like through the roof, phenomenal, like got this girl excited. And then she's like, but wait, do I have to clean drains? Right. And she's like, well, yeah, that's the job. And she's like, oh, I don't want to do that. That's gross.
Yeah.
Right. And so how do we change the minds of women to make it more enticing, make it more exciting, make it something that's real for them to do as well?
Yeah. That's good stuff. I see Thaddeus thinking.
Yeah, I was just thinking giving career path options. Like what's your path to being an owner? Have you ever thought about being an owner? Well, you can start and you can earn your stripes, so to speak.
Yeah.
You see a lot of guys that are in the trucks and then they start their own business, and the same thing can be for females too. Like you have a path forward to be a business owner within the trades, and I think that might be a way to be able to elevate it and spin it a little bit to say, hey, it's not a long term. It's a you earn your stripes, you learn the ropes, and now it's just like any other business, right? You're going to go in and you're going to learn the ropes, and well, you don't have to be a technician in order to be able to run an HVAC business or plumbing business. You really don't, and that's not what I'm trying to say here. But it's a path forward, and if you paint that path forward, and I think this is removing gender from the equation. I think anybody can really benefit from that, is giving them that path to what do you want. What do you really want to accomplish? Do you want to run your own business? Do you want to maybe get out of the vehicle? Maybe you want to be an ops manager. And again, removing that gender from the equation, you can paint that picture for anyone.
Yeah. That's good stuff. Well, I know you guys have to run, so we can wrap this up. I like to do this thing at the end of the episode, though. Last tip before we dip.
Love it.
Same question every time. So we'll start alphabetical order here, Evan.
Yes.
If you were
Best,
talking to
yeah.
someone who is going to be starting a heating and air conditioning company
Mhm.
tomorrow,
Mhm.
what is the best piece of advice you would give them?
Obsess over the customer experience.
Love it.
Yeah. Reverse engineer your best customer experience that you've ever had as a customer, and identify for yourself what it is that you enjoyed most about that process and redo it for your company.
Ooh, I like that. It's going to be kind of hard to follow that one up. Thaddeus, what do you got?
Oh, the same question?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were going to ask me a different one.
Same question.
Same question. Well, I can't steal his answer, but I do want to, I mean, I'll come up with my answer. I already have it. But I do want to touch on that customer experience. Customer experience is the new battleground, guys. Like, it really is. Why is what's your differentiating factor, right? You have companies that have a great brand. They got a great website. They've got a great presence. They've got the online stuff. They're doing the marketing. They've got their Google reviews. Everything is the same. What's going to separate you from somebody else is that customer experience. But I'm going to go one step further on that. And I'm actually going to go with build your culture the right way from the ground up. And they go hand in hand. And I talk a lot about this on our podcast is people, product, price in that order. People has two prongs. One is your customer. Two is your employees. Employees are actually number one. They're before the customer. I think a lot of people say, oh, the customer is always right. No, get fucked. Oh, wait, can I swear in your show? Okay,
Absolutely.
perfect. Customers are right. Get fucked. No, your people are always right. I mean, I shouldn't say that either, but your people are the most important part. And if you have a great culture, now you can take what Evan said and build that awesome customer experience. And now both of your people win, your customers and your employees.
Yeah.
Number one thing you can do to be better at customer service is take care of your people.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
that's good stuff.
Great minds think alike.
Great minds think alike. Well, thank you all again for tuning in to another episode of the Smart HVAC Marketing Podcast / HVAC Success Secrets Revealed. That's a tongue twister.
It is.
Yes, it is.
HVAC Success Secrets Revealed.
Yep.
Got that.
You gotta have a talented tongue for it.
Yeah.
Or just call it HVAC Revealed.
HVAC Revealed. Thank you all for tuning in.
And On Purpose Media. Ooh, sorry.
And On Purpose Media.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers. Yeah. My beer's empty. Just pretend like I'm.
Mine's halfway done.
All right. Till next time, y'all stay smart.